Kind of a late start today. It's about 9:30 here on the job site. Dad, he stayed back in Stockton today. I think he's going to go maybe look at some timber. We were going to bring this skid steer down today. I was kind of wanting to because my deck area is going to be right out here. And I'm going to drag some logs today. I'm going to try to cut a few too. Try to get most of the cutting finished up. But deck area is going to be right out here. That's where we're going to deck these logs. And I'll take the skidder and I'll push this little debris pile over, because when we come in to do the dirt work, we're actually when we demo that house, our instructions are to demo it and put the remains of it right out here where our deck area is going to be. So we'll also do that with this mess and some of these tree tops as well. And the brush over here we put in the pad, we'll pack all that brush where the pad's going to be over here and just have a big pile. Like I said, that's our instructions on the dirt work, so I don't have a lot of say so over that. I just do what I'm told. So we'll fire the skidder up and let it start running, and then when we're doing that, I'm gonna gas up a saw and sharpen up. Then, like I said, we've got there's still probably 8 or 9, 10 down here in the bottom we're gonna cut, and we'll try to get those cut today. I've got to look at some timber late this afternoon between Ozark and Sparta, Missouri. So if everything goes right, we should be able to get quite a bit done here today. Should be able to get quite a bit done. And really, Dad was wanting to cut that one tree at Stockton today, but it's still a little wet. And that's why I didn't bring the skid steer down here. And really, I would just as soon bring the skid steer down tomorrow. That way we can sort our logs out on the deck area. And then if we need to, we can just take it home with us as we go tomorrow, and we can take care of that tree at Stockton either Saturday or Sunday, then try to get moved to the next job after that. So, a lot to do in a little amount of time. So let's get things going, and let's try to get some wood moved. Now I see a lot of guys talking about, or a lot of guys ask me about what we do with our saws as far as running them. Our saws are pretty simple. Everything we got's bone stock. These aren't all of our 66s, but these are 4 of them. I've got 2 88s in that box and 2 88s in one of the locker boxes. So we got 8 saws on the truck. And I think we've got another 4 of these 661s. I call them 660s. They're 661s. Well, we got another 4 of these, and I think another 3 or 4 88s. So we're saw poor. We never sell any saws. What we really do is we use saws until they start getting some wear on them. Then we just we'll phase them out. We've always got new saws, and the older saws we phase out for part saws if we ever need them for parts, which it happens. I don't care what you use. I mean, things are going to break. That's the inevitable. But like on chain, we run nothing but steel chain. That is all we run is steel chain. Recently, we've started running pretty much all 404 on these 661s. This one here still got 3/8 gauge or 3/8 pitch chain on it. The bars, of course, are different from the 3/8 to 404, obviously. But I like the 404 better. I think it more durable chain, cuts better. I know we've went over that, but even like with mix for the gas, I will always mix just a little rich. I would rather put in a little too much as not enough. And of course, all we use is steel mix. Now with bar and chain oil, we'll buy the cheapest, whatever is cheapest, bar and chain oil, just as long as it's a good lubricant. That's what we run. We don't run a lot of high dollar bar and chain oil like the steel oil. It's just way too expensive, I think. We'll just try to get a good tacky oil on sale, and we buy it in bulk. We buy a lot of oil. Like I said, as far as maintenance, we just try to run a good mixture. Always run 91 octane or higher ethanol-free fuel. Always try to clean the filters out on a regular basis, help them breathe. I don't think there's any big secret to saw maintenance. I really don't. And I see a lot of guys talking about they've had trouble with these 661s, and they have trouble with steels, they have trouble with Husqvarna, they have trouble with the Johns Red. We've never had any trouble with these steel saws. And maybe it's just we're luck. I don't know. We're the lucky ones, but we just don't have any trouble with them. I mean, we just, like I said, no secret. We don't bore them out or porter polish them or anything like that. We just run them. Just put gas in them, oil them, clean out the filters, let them eat. And that's all we do. All right, enough of saw stuff. Skitter's sitting there warming up. She's about warm. We're going to start out with close drags. I'm going to push this little bunch of stuff out of the way. We'll probably start out grabbing 2 or 3 of these. We'll grab some of these out here. We'll try to finish up what's on the top. We'll get it out here in the deck area. And then there's a little road going down into the river bottom over here. And then we'll start going down to the bottom after those logs. The good thing about this job, it's a small 10-acre parcel, so everything is real short proximity drags, which makes things nice. You can move a lot of wood fast when it's short drags. The only bad thing, which it's not a bad thing, but the thing that'll kind of hinder, some of these trees in the bottom are really tall and long, so they are harder to get out on drags if there's a lot of obstacles or trees in the way, which I don't think we'll have too much trouble getting them out, but there'll be some that will be kind of problematic just because we don't want to tear up the residual trees down there, so we'll really have to watch where we drag those logs. So let's toss the saw on the skidder and start dragging. We got everything up top. We just got down here in the bottom. I've got to cut this one off. There's some of these we didn't top just for the safety's sake, that they were calling for more rain, and you never know. So we didn't top them just for the fact that if the water would have got up, they wouldn't have went far. They'd have got hung up. But this log here in particular, I posted a picture of this log on Instagram and Facebook the other day, and I had somebody comment that said it was too crooked, it wasn't even worth cutting. By the time we cut all the crooks out, there wouldn't be nothing left. Well, I don't know if said guy watches our YouTube channel or not, but that's a 25-inch bar, so looks plenty big to me. And as far as the crook, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll cut a 10-foot log right there where it starts to bend. Then above it, we'll probably get a good 8 or a 9 right here. Limb that off because that's too small. Then we'll probably get a 7 or an 8 out of this. So, if some people just need to leave the logging to us. A lot of times I don't even reply to comments like that because a lot of times it's guys that really don't know what they're talking about. That's a good sized walnut tree right there. And these trees, like I said, they're bigger than they look. That old big one, that was hung up the other day, if you remember the other day's video. Wind or something brought it down. These old trees are bigger than they look, and they're tall and slick too. So I've got to cut this one here. I've already barked it. That's a big tree there. Man, that's got a good sap line on it. Good sap line. These are good trees in these river bottoms. Real good trees. And when I cut that stuff, when we get up here at the top, that great big tree I cut the other day, the biggest diameter tree on the place, I worked on it for about 20 minutes because it was kind of hung up. I had to pull it down, cut on it, pull on it some more to finally get it loose where I could drag it out. But I don't like to waste any more of this stuff than I have to. Whenever we cut a tree, if we can sell it, if it can be utilized in our markets, we're taking it out to the deck. And just like this tree here, I'm not so sure I can't even get a piece out of this over here. It's pretty small, but we can take it at least up to here. It's got a little bit of a bend in it, old lightning scar. We'll cut it right here before it gets real crooked. Just like over here on this side. That's a small piece, but we'll take it here to this bend before it really makes a dog leg there. There's no need to waste it. If you can take it out and utilize it, it needs to be brought out. It's part of the tree, it needs to go out. Granted, those small pieces like that, they don't bring much money, but hey, the way I look at it, it's just like leaving a $20 bill laying on the ground. You're not gonna leave 20 bucks laying on the ground. We're already here, we're already dragging the log out. Why not work it up and take all we can out with us? That's the way I was brought up cutting timber, and that's the way I'm going to continue to cut timber. We're going to utilize everything we can. Now, for one, I thought it would be a little wetter down here today than what it is, because the other day there was water standing under there, right under the shelf there. That water's receded, and we come right through there. we're not even hardly making a track. This whole ground's firmed up pretty good, surprisingly. Because the water was up in here the other day. It got up in here. It's receded a lot in the riverbanks just from the other day when we were here 2 days ago. That's a plus. So we should be able to move on these pretty quick. Like I said, I've still got 8 or 9, 10, however many down in here to cut yet today. But we're going to work on getting these ones out that we've already got down first. That way it isn't so congested. And then we'll work on getting the rest of these cut and try to snake them on out of here. So we'll get this one worked up now, this little tree that the experts say we shouldn't have cut. Oh, you gotta love hecklers, don't you? That's a stick of wood. Now these are the kind I'm talking about when I say it's hard to get out sometimes because they're so long. It's a long way to the top of that tree. I took all I could from it. Like I said, I don't like to waste anything, so we're way up there, probably 40 feet, I'm guessing. Now luckily this one's here pretty straight shot other than weaseling out where it was. We were lucky enough to get a straight shot and come on out and go right on up the road here. We'll raise up on the grapple, keep it choked up as high as we can. We'll come on out with it. She's about all the old 548 wants here. We'll lock it in. There we go. We locked in the differential and come up out of the hole here. That's a big tree. Unlocked it. Now we got some stable ground below us. Grab it here. Now usually when I run back, I try to run with the blade down to keep the roads good and open and clear, because they will continue to use this road. This is the only road we'll have going down over the shelf. The landowner is pretty specific about wanting just one road going down where the existing one was, and I'm perfectly fine with that. We said we could even open it up for them. There's a lot of log back there. A lot of young residual trees in here. Kind of like a little grove of walnut right here on top. And there's some good ones down there in the bottom growing that we're leaving. That big gnarly one, the big tree I cut. Now you'll see, I try to get all the branches I could that'll make logs off of it. Now once we get that worked up, bucked into links, put tile, you won't even recognize it. That thing will clean up nice once we trim it all up and round it. That's got a big 12-foot log in it. That's probably 24, 25 inches there on the 12-foot veneer. Oh, I better pay attention to what I'm doing here. Drop this guy right here. Go back down after his buddies now. That's a heck of a piece of wood. And you guys that watch my channel regularly know that we clean these logs up a lot. I try to clean them up as good as I can down when they're in the timber. But once we get them out to the deck, then we'll really do the fine tuning on them. We really try to round everything up, make them look good, real presentable. We're going to try to push this up into the pile a little bit better. We're going to be running low on room. The deck's filling up pretty fast today. It's filling up pretty fast. Pretty neat right there, some kind of old rock foundation that used to sit here on this little ridge. I mean, like a little house or a cabin years and years ago. Used to overlook the river here. I need to be dragging, but I wanted to take a second. This, I preach so much about managing timber, and really, like, when I see a lot of trees like this, you know, we leave them. I mean, there is a passel, a good little walnut growing down here, and they're going to grow tall like they are. They're going to grow fast. They're going to be good trees one of these days. Not today, but one of these days. That one there, could it be cut? Yeah, technically it probably could be cut, but whether one of these days down the road it's me that gets to come back or cut these, or it's some other young boy like me that's, you know, just out here kind of living the dream, they're going to appreciate stumbling upon these things one of these days. And it means the world to me when we get to come across patches of timber that have been logged years ago, and we come back and see trees like this where somebody's really taken the time to manage them right. And it leaves something there for the landowners to look forward to in the future. They're just, like I said, I can't ever stress enough, and I see so many people anymore that loggers, you know, especially here in southwest Missouri, and Missouri in general, where there's a lot of walnut. They just go in and they butcher these timber stands. They butcher these stands of walnut. And it's terrible. It's wasteful. It's wasteful for a lot of reasons. The only time I can ever see cutting small timber like that is if they're just going to doze it out or clear it, make room for development or something. Other than that, leave it and let it grow. There's no need to go through there and cut that small stuff like that. One of these days, we're not going to have any timber to cut just because there's so many guys out there like that just mutilating these small patches of walnut and small patches of oak. Granted, in southwest Missouri, we're not real abundant on timber anyway, like a lot of you guys back east or up north. We just don't have the timber you guys do. So I think it's always really crucial to manage timber properly. Go through there, give it a good thinning, harvest what needs to be harvested, and let the rest grow. Just periodically come back and cut it. That's why we cut on so many farms like we do. Well, why my dad's cut on farms 4, 5, and 6 times. Why his dad cut on farms. Well, I'm going back and cutting on farms that my dad cut on, my great-granddad cut on. And that's what it all comes down to, is managing timber properly. And it just, like I said, to me, it makes me happy to see these trees growing good down here. They're in a great area to grow. We can come in here and thin out some of these bigger ones. They're going to have that much more nutrients in the ground they don't have to share with these big trees. It's going to open the canopy up so much more for them to get the sunlight they need to help them grow and just keep moving on, keep going on in their life cycle. I preach about it a lot, I know, but man, like I said, it makes me happy to see those smaller trees like that. It makes me real happy. And I hope one of these days down the road I can come back and maybe cut this stand again. But if not me, if I'm not around to cut them, if I'm not here, maybe the next guy will appreciate what's here. So let's get this old boy out. That's a pretty good log there too. That's got a long veneer log and a multiple cut. The deck's filling up pretty good. We got a few more that are hung up, then we're going to start cutting. Then we might have to wait till we get the skid steer here to finish this job up so we can kind of make some room up there, because we don't have much of a deck area anyway, and we're filling it up pretty good today in a short time. So let's hop on here and try to get this old boy out. Dan, I think it was you that asked about barking trees. We've had several people ask about that over the last almost 2 years I've been doing YouTube videos, and I think one of my first videos was actually on barking trees. What we mean by that is down here in these river bottoms, where these creeks and rivers flood real bad, it washes a lot of dirt and sand and sediment into the bark of these trees. Well, for us, with board cutting them, and to ensure that we can cut longer and not cut crooked while we're cutting, we bark them that way they're not so dirty. That way when we go to make that initial cut, we're cutting clean bark, or clean wood. I mean, you can tell. Of course, you can see one there that's barked, and another one there that's barked. I think I just barked 5 trees. I think that's the last 5 I've got down here in the bottom. The other ones I cut were already barked from the other day. So what I do is I take my axe here, and we'll go all the way around the tree. Of course, you can see some places it's higher up than others. That's where the spurs are. That's where after I board out, that's where I'll cut down the spurs to use to control my fall. But I'll go all the way around that tree barking it, and then we'll start cutting. kind of sprouts in the way, but it's not much fun. It's not much fun at all. There's some jobs that we have to bark every tree on the job. And a lot of people don't, and that's fine. Ain't no big deal if you don't. I mean, I'm not going to knock you for not doing the extra work. But for us, we don't have to sharpen as much, and we can cut longer. See there, these trees are barked and ready to go. I have to be careful. This north wind's really starting to pick up, and as tall as these trees are, they really get to rocking in this wind. And we don't want them going back the other way and damaging these residuals like right there. That's a dandy little tree growing right there, and there's several right here in this little cluster. Just good small residual trees that we don't want to damage. So we're gonna, I think the first one we got back, there's cuts back here. We're gonna see how it goes. You can see that one, it needs to be cut. It's starting to go bad. Of course, down there at the base of it, the first foot or so of this tree will probably be bad. You can kind of see that little seam right there. See that, then you can see that bark starting to die and peel off of it. That tree needs to be cut. It needs to come down. It's not healthy, which it's plenty big enough to cut anyway, but even if it was a smaller residual tree, that's one of the instances we would cut it if we couldn't make anything out of it. We'd bring it down just to try to improve the overall health of the stand, and the fact that thing's probably done growing. It's not gonna be around too much longer. So we'll go back here. I got the saw on the stump. I'm gonna put my axe back on the skidder. Just got it parked right here waiting, and we're gonna see if we can lay a few more of these down, and if we can, well, that'll just about have the wraps on this job. I think we've got 3 trees up top we've got to push or pull on, Dad said. So what we'll probably try to do is get those tomorrow, and I'll bring the skid steer tomorrow as we come. That way we can start sorting everything out and getting them bucked to length. So let's jump on the saw. Let's start whittling. Not a bad day, not bad for about 3.5 hours. Done it all today. I cut, I drug, I barked. So I used to worry a lot when I was younger about what had happened one day when my dad might not be able to come to work with me. And I still worry about it a lot, I really do. But I know I can do it on my own, but I couldn't imagine going to work without my dad every day. And just like today, where Dad's doing other things, or he's looking at timber, and it's up to me to keep things rolling. I don't mind. I mean, I don't mind working alone. I don't, but it would be hard to imagine not going to work without my dad, not having my dad with me. But he, all these years, he's kind of taught me how to do all this slowly but surely. And it's good to know I can do it. I mean, it is. This is all I've ever done my whole life. And I guess in a sense it's silly to worry about things like that, but I do. That's a good looking wagon there, good looking peat. Some pretty good logs. That's the only one that cut bad right there. And I kind of figured it was going to cut bad. The way that bark is on it. Real tight looking bark. See that old lightning scar there. Dead limb. I don't think it goes that far up in there though. Maybe 1.5 foot. It'll butt off. So really it cut better than I thought. Now this is the old big boy here. So that is a chunk of wood right there. And there's a lot of material, a lot of footage in that tree. Just like this monster here. This is that big one from the bottom. That's a big tree. There's a lot of footage in that. There's a lot of footage in these tall trees. Like I said, I try to cut them just as long as I can to get every foot and every inch. That way we can get them out here to the deck and we can get them marked and sort them out with the skid steer. Get them laid out how they need to be. Now I did have a mishap earlier today. I cut a tree and it landed on the crotch, which was what I didn't want it to do. But above that, there was a smaller crotch, and it busted probably 9 foot of that tree, split it right in half, the very top of it, which wasn't a big loss, but still, I hate to lose any footage. I hate to lose any length. And really, it wasn't the crotch that busted that I thought it would. It was the smaller one in the very top of the tree, and I think it's that short piece over there on the end. We still got a good 16, 17 foot of log in it. Yeah, they're pretty good set. Like I said, we got a few more to cut. I think we're going to cut this one here and this one here. We'll cut them tomorrow. We'll make, because that one there is by the road, and we'll want to make sure, even when we're cutting it, that the road's all clear, and for sure that's not going to go back that way, which just looking at it, I don't think it will, but if we have to, we'll use the big yellow wedge there. It's a good set of logs. It really is. It's a real good set of logs. Anytime you get a cut in these river bottoms, cutting this clean timber, you know, the fact that big logs are going to sell good no matter what. I mean, they're in the walnut, you know, as long as these walnut got some size to them, they're going to sell pretty good. But when they've got some size and they're clean, they're going to really sell good. And even some of these smaller logs, I mean, they're clean. And that's another thing they got going for them. It's just a good set of logs. Like I said, that ugly thing there, you just wait and see. We'll work that up. We'll make it look pretty. We'll round everything up and get those to looking good, those pieces there. Walk through it just a little more. It's going to be a long video today, isn't it? Long video. I didn't trim that one up real good. That's that last tree I cut. Man, that's some kind of tree there. Look at that. That is a good log in that thing. Last one I cut there. Got a lot of material on the top of it. Of course, my sawn chaps are up there on the end of it. Long, tall things there. Just a good set of logs. Good set of logs. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out today with me in the woods. Always appreciate you guys watching the videos. So you guys are the reason we make them. You guys said that it still amazes me to this day how many people they call or text or call us. And I mean, to me, it's everyday stuff. It's just logging, and I guess I kind of take it for granted after a while. But I guess, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's interesting, but when you do it, it's just kind of, it's life, you know, it's life, it's everyday life. But as long as you guys want to keep watching them, we'll keep making them. So, but like I said, thanks a lot for hanging out, and it's going to be a good set of logs. We'll finish this job up tomorrow. We'll get the skid steer on here. Like I said, we're short on deck room, as you can see, real short on deck room. So we should be able to get the last few put in here, and then we'll start working them up and get them laid out with the skid steer. And we might even try to sell them tomorrow if everything goes right, if we can get things lined up to do that. So, thanks a lot. Be sure to check us out on our social outlets at Turner Logging LLC at Instagram and on Facebook. Like I've said here previously, I'm a little more active on Instagram than I am Facebook, but I do try to cross-post. Be sure to check out everything going on with Timber Tracker at timbertracker.net and that Timber Tracker app. You can use that app. I know a lot of people are really liking the new features that we added here about I guess it's been 2 months ago now. It doesn't seem like it. The footage calculator. You can scale, price your own logs, print off that stuff, email it. All kinds of options there. We've got some more features we're currently working on now for the standing timber side of things. We've got some logistics features we're working on. So a lot of great stuff there. But check all that out. And of course, logger threads. It's not too often I wear a logger thread shirt to work. I usually wear a Turner logging shirt, but I wore the new fuel design today. You guys, like I said, if you haven't wore any of the logger thread stuff, I promise you'll like it. It's pretty top-notch stuff. It's all made in America. It's how it should be. But guys, thanks a lot. I'm gonna get off here. It's getting close to 1 o'clock. I'm hungry. I want to eat some lunch. Then I've got to go look at that timber between Ozark and Spartanite, that little bunch of walnuts. So I'm sure I'll see you tomorrow. Long video today, I know, but I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks a lot.